CarCast. I'm Matt, the moderator, DeAndrea, and our buddy Bill Goldberg is on the road. He's doing a little bit of traveling, a little bit of work stuff going on right now. So I called my good friend Brad Fanshaw. Brad's my co-host on Shift and Steer, so a lot of you guys are already familiar with Brad. If you're not, welcome, Brad Fanshaw.
Brad Why not? Why don't you know me?
Brad also owns Bond Speed Wheels, and he made the wheels for my 93 Cobra. He made the wheels for my Lightning, which keep popping up on Instagram, and people are like, what are those? What are you doing? I'm like, yeah, we made billet versions of the stock wheels. We made $5,000 set of wheels that look like $300. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Bill moved to Goldberg moved to Texas, as our listeners know. But of course, part of that process meant selling his ranch down in Southern California. He's got the 3 properties on one big giant, combo lot, and his house was there, and his big mega garage and the gym, and it's all the famous photos that you see online. If you Google Goldberg's garage, you see the big garage and stuff. And he sold it and completed his move to Texas, which he's very excited about. And he's back at the old house. It's sold. He's just I guess signing the deal or cleaning up a few things or whatever. So I'm glad that's kind of done, especially nowadays, right? Where everyone's kind of locked down and quarantine's kind of an odd time to do a transaction like that, but it's good. It's there. But we've got some good show for you today. Before we begin, we're going to remind you about our friends at Dodge. Dodge is offering power dollars, and for every horsepower of your new Dodge vehicle purchase, you'll get $10 off. So peeling out in a 2019 Dodge Charger RT Scat Pack, hey, no problem. You just got $4,580 off. Speaking of Dodge, we'll probably get into this more next week. I know we've done it a lot here, so probably on Shift and Steer next week we can talk about it more. But I'm driving the Dodge Charger Hellcat wide body, and the Hellcat we've driven before, but now this is the wide body. Brad, you were with us out at Spring Fest, I think a year ago. We were at the track in Pomona.
Yeah, out in Pomona at the fairgrounds. LA fairgrounds.
We were out there for the big Mopar event, and we met up with the guys from SpeedCore. We saw their carbon fiber charger, and the guys from Dodge were debuting, still wrapped in the camouflage print, the Charger wide body. And then that car that was there on display was the bright blue car. It was just wrapped in camouflage. We didn't know it was.
Yeah, it was that blue, black, and white and everything going on.
Yeah. And so, and then, like a month later, the TV commercial came out of the blue Charger wide body, and it's the Muscleville one. It's got Goldberg. It's got the I forgot who was doing the drifting for that. Hubinet, I believe, was doing the drifting for it. Well, that was the same car. And after we did that Spring Fest, Goldberg went out and filmed the commercial with that car. So now we've got the production version of it. Goldberg already owns, I don't know, 9 of them. I have no idea. He's 1 or 2.
Yeah, he's trying to corner the market on those. You know?
He is. And and he took his other Charger. I think he took the slab side Charger Hellcat and sent that down to the Gearhead Fabrications guys and SpeedCore. I think they did a full carbon fiber wide body on it, but the Gearhead Fabrication guys are taking off the supercharger, doing twin turbo, like we saw in the MagnaFlow booth. We saw that blacked out, murdered out all-wheel drive with the 4 slicks on it. They had a Charger in the MagnaFlow booth. But he's doing a 2-wheel drive version, 1,500 horsepower. That's good. I just drove this car on the way here with 700 horsepower. And getting on the freeway, it's getting, like on that on-ramp, I'm turning on and hitting the gas, and the tail is sliding around with 707 horsepower. 1500 is going to be completely useless.
You should have had it a couple weeks ago, Matt, when you could use it, because
Yeah.
now the freeways in LA are already starting to jam up again. You know?
They are, but it's in the morning now, so my drive in here wasn't too bad, but
You know, the one thing they do have to do with these cars, though, they
Yeah.
have to come up with some acronyms, because the names are getting to be like some company with a bad domain name where they've got it so long you can't remember it, because you start getting Hellcat and Red Eye and all these names.
Well, there's a Dodge Challenger Hellcat Red Eye wide body.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah.
I think the only other one out there would be like the Land Rover Range Rover Autobiography Dynamic or something like that. I think it's one of the big Range Rover. We drove it. I don't know. We drove it, but
it's like some company that goes, "Oh, my website. Just find us on our website. It's Dynamic Matte Carbon Fiber Products Made in England.com." You know, I mean,
right. It'd take you half a day to start typing it in, and then go back and make sure you didn't spell it right. But
it always comes to the top, though.
Let's get into a little bit of news and you know, maybe some truck updates. Let's start with the truck update, because that's the fun stuff. You know, so many of these aftermarket companies, Brad included, over at Bond Speed Wheels, everybody's shut down, even with some limited capability. You guys can come in and you can field a few orders and stuff on your own, but your factory is still shut down. So we've been
let me correct you there. We reopened on Monday with a half crew. So we are starting to get some of the older orders processed and gear towards full production in about 1.5, 2 weeks. So thank you.
Well, this is good. And car dealers are starting to open up now. And although some of the service centers were some of the elective, if you will, services were not. For example, our friends over at Galpin Autosports, they've been doing some stuff on my truck, but they were closed for a while, and they're just starting to reopen, and they're catching up on some orders. And their shop is full. Their shop is always full, by the way. They work on every make and model over there, and they opened Porsche Santa Clarita. It's the new Galpin Porsche dealer, and already gas has Porsches in it. It seems like every car they sell at that dealer ends up at gas first, and they're getting a wrap or custom wheels, or even just like clear bra, like, you know, a paint protective film. Like, they're just doing everything already over there. So
you know, Michael, my business partner, Michael Anthony, he dropped his Ford GT off the week everything closed down over at Galpin for some warranty work.
Yeah.
And warranty work that he ended up having to pay for because there were some items that went wrong on it. Not because of Galpin, just that car has no miles.
Yeah.
He keeps it in perfect condition, and it needed new rear A-arms because the bushings had gone away. But he just got it back because, as you said, they just reopened. And he was like, God, I finally got my car back, you know?
I believe I saw the car there a while ago, and I saw that he posted on Instagram the car that he's got back at the shop, which you guys got a nice set of Bond Speeds on. We had it here a couple of years back. We had Michael Anthony's Ford GT over here, along with your El Camino. So I'm bringing the truck back over there. We talked about the vehicle speed sensor not really working, and I got a new sensor, and you have to like kind of file it down, and you close the gap between the magnet on that sensor and the tone ring, which is in the rear differential. I did that. It helped, but it didn't completely fix the problem. So now we know I have to do a tone ring. And then I ordered up the tone ring. I knew we had to take the rear differential apart, had to take the axles apart. So I called up the guys at Mark Williams, and I measured the entire thing, measured the whole differential housing and whatnot, and then had Mark Williams custom make a set of axles for me. UPS has delayed them 3 times already. It's supposed to be on Friday, then Saturday, then Monday, and then Tuesday, and here we are on Wednesday. I don't have them yet, so hopefully today. So I got the new axles, I got the tone ring, got the new sensor. They're going to do that in the rear diff. They're also going to we're going to tackle this steering issue, and it's an issue, but it's something we were trying to come up with on our own. The steering on the truck is the Ford steering box. I think the ratio is like 17-1. Obviously, it's old, and then the steering shaft has, I believe, just a rag joint at the end, which is a rubber bushing that often wears out, especially with a vehicle that's heavy, or if you put a lot of miles on it, or even in a sports car with a rag joint steering, you can do one track day and basically wear that thing down. So it's fine on the street, absorbs vibration, but for anything performance oriented, you want to eliminate that. So um, I could not, for the life of me, get the stock Ford steering box rebuilt to be quick ratio. Nobody like remakes the gears in different sizes in that steering box. So I called up Flaming River and I ordered up one of their, let's say, universal quick ratio steering boxes. It's a completely new box. It's actually really expensive. It's almost $1,000. And
Is it
in the world,
machined all out of billet, Matt?
it is. It's
Yeah, I've seen 'em.
yeah, it is kind of cool. It does have a cast piece and it has some billet pieces on it, and it's completely new. Um, there's nothing rebuilt about it, so it's universal, but it's made for a lot of early GM vehicles and Jeep. There was one steering box that fit a bunch of vehicles, Gen 1 Camaros, and some Jeeps and things like that. So they figured if they make that box, it would fit so many things. And they were right. And what I did is I got a Ford steering box from the truck. I ordered one up so I can measure it without having to take my truck apart and take it off the road. Ordered a Ford steering box, put it next to the Flaming River box, and we went and measured everything. The Ford box mounts with 3 bolts. We knew that. The GM box with 4 bolts. So we would have to make some sort of change. But it turns out the dimensions of the box are pretty much exactly the same. And the spline counts for both the pitman arm and the steering shaft are the same. So there's no issue there. And how far the shaft for the pitman arm sticks out is roughly the same. So if we can mount this in the same exact location, everything else should bolt up to it, no problem. But so we have to go onto the truck. We have to cut the frame where there's the 3 bolt mounts because they kind of protrude out. So it's not like it's flat and there's just holes in the frame. It has like standoffs.
It's like a stamping point almost.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So we'll pull the stock steering box off. We'll cut the frame. We'll make a new standoff that's 4 bolt and then weld it into the frame, paint it up. It'll look completely factory. And then I have a new forged, high-strength forged pitman arm, which will go on. Since we're in there, might as well replace it. And then the steering shaft, I got a universal collapsible steering shaft from Flaming River, and I got the U-joints for both ends, and then we'll cut it to fit. And now there's no more rag joint. It's just what you normally see in a bunch of the racing cars.
Yeah, I was going to say, like in a race car.
Yeah.
But the one thing you did say that's real critical there is that everything should work.
Everything should work. Yeah.
I've said that many a time.
We'll see. But driving these trucks, it's probably got 2 inches of slop, like left to right in the steering before it even goes anywhere.
Yeah.
And then it's like 4.5 turns lock to lock. And this should eliminate the slop for the most part, and then bring it down to about a 2.5 turn lock to lock. It's going to be a night and day difference.
It will make it incredibly different. On my El Camino, big full body El Camino, I told you I did that. We took all that away and did exactly what you're doing, but I was able to find a GM. There was a Macho Trans Am made back in the 70s, and it is a direct replacement. And when they made the Macho edition, it was 2.5 turns lock to lock from the factory.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was a direct swap out. The hard part was finding a Macho Trans Am because they were so rare, and to find one wrecked. But I was able to do that. And the difference, like you said, going from, okay, to just wonk, wonk, it's just, you're going to love it. You're going to love it.
Yeah, well, that's good. I'm excited about doing that. It's going to go in next week. It's going to take, I don't know, 2 weeks of downtime to get all that stuff done. Also, there was a leak in one of the lines on the AC, so we're just replacing everything that's in there. Truck's got 101,000 miles on it, and there was a leak in the line. And in my mind, that always means there's potential for a little bit of contamination in the system. So it just seemed like the right time to go ahead. Let's just swap it all. New condenser, new lines, receiver, dryer. Just do everything at once. It's a couple bucks extra, but might as well just kind of get it done new. So all of that stuff is going to be done. That should be exciting to get that back, sort of the next step, and then get it back on the road and drive it a little bit. Maybe bring it back down to your shop. Get those center caps you're making for me.
They're done. And when the engraving shop ever opens back up, we'll pick them up.
Oh, there you go. Anyway, let's get into some more news. I'm not sure if you've seen. Did you get a chance to drive any of the Genesis vehicles? We had a G70 at one point, which was kind of fun. It was sporty. They got the G80 and the G90, which was the bigger boys. I don't know if you drove any.
I drove one of them, the 70, and I was surprised. I was awarded with so much more gratification than I expected. Sometimes it's better than expecting a whole lot and being disappointed. They've done a nice job with those vehicles. They really have. They
have, and the redesigned G80 is coming out pretty soon. Recently announced, virtual, like all the announcements are happening now, and it's pretty sharp looking. I mean, the whole light treatment in the front is interesting, and I've seen it in a few different colors. I kind of like it more in the silver than I do in this other color. It's sort of this blue green kind of thing that they're doing, this color shifting. It looks like that Mystic Chrome color shifting paint that was on the Mustang Cobras in like 04 or something. And a few other people have done that color. There's something about the photos that are posted. It looks like it's that color, and I don't really like it, but it's a good looking car, and it's really starting to feel like it's kind of an upscaled bit, like the interior and stuff has got a bit of Mercedes and stuff going on now. It's nice. And the Genesis we've always kind of liked, because if you're not a brand snob, this is a nice car for less money than the competition. The G80, which is their mid-sized luxury sedan, starts at $48,000, and
which is way below their competition in that opening area.
Yeah, I want to say the Audi and the Mercedes, like an A6 Audi, the Mercedes E350, BMW 5 Series, they all start in the mid 50s, 54, 55. So this is going to be quite a bit less, and I'm going to imagine that the Genesis is probably pretty well equipped at that price. I don't know it has a huge a la carte menu. There's probably a tech package and a premium package, something along the lines of that, and then that's really
there's like an interior package and things like that that you can get. But I don't know. I think it's when you compare it to the competition, it's more power and less cost overall for what you're getting, it seems.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to try. I kind of like it. It's a good looking vehicle. I don't know who the audience is. I guess you want that luxury vehicle. You want it a little more affordable. Again, you're not a brand snob, so you could pick it up pretty nicely. We had a buddy, Alistair Weaver from Edmonds, on a while ago, and he spoke highly of the Genesis brand and those vehicles. Pretty good. But the resale value still wasn't there. So his suggestion, I believe at the time, was if you're looking to lease a nice luxury vehicle, that's a good way to do it with a pretty small lease payment because the overall price of the vehicle is less. Or if you're looking to buy one, get it used. Even get something, 15, 18,000 miles on it, 20,000 miles on it. Get it used, and you'll save a bunch of money, even more than you would getting the more affordable luxury car. So buying a new one outright isn't quite there yet, but I guess it kind of fits what everybody's plan is and what everybody's budget is. But that was his recommendation. You've seen the we've talked about the new Porsche, the 992.
Oh yeah.
We talked about the new Porsche Turbo S, which again, Alistair got a chance to drive. He's got a couple videos up on Edmunds in regards to that. We saw the new 911s, I think a year ago at LA Auto Show, and there's been some interesting Porsche news. One of my favorite cars, or the 911 body styles, is the Targa, and we've had the 911, we've had the S, we have the 2-wheel drive and the 4-wheel drive, the all-wheel drive, the 4S and the Turbo S, and on the new platform, and now they just released the Targa, and it is fantastic. It is gorgeous, and they're doing the same ideas they did as the previous generation Targa. It has the power soft top in the middle, and if you really look at that car, one of the reasons why it looks beautiful, not just the blade that goes across to separate the roof,
the Targa bar.
Yeah, the Targa bar. On the previous one, they were like a brushed silver, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a brushed aluminum.
Looks stainless almost. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the GTS came default with the black Targa bar. But when you build the GTS on the configurator on their website, you can opt to go back to the brushed stainless look if you wanted to, but they just try to differentiate the GTS between the two by default by changing the different colors. But the rear glass is this beautiful piece of glass that starts off the sides like quarter windows and bends into a rear glass, and it's one piece. So your rear visibility in that car is better than the normal cars, and it looks fantastic. And it's nice to see that they're continuing with that. Also, you can get those with a manual transmission, like the normal 911s and the 4s. So I like the idea of that. Now, my favorite car in the previous lineup was the Porsche 911 GTS 4 Targa. And you can get it with a manual transmission. And the GTS gave it the center lock wheels like on the Turbo S.
Yes.
But you can get it with the 7-speed manual, which you can't get in the Turbo and the Turbo S. And it has the nice GTS bits, the Alcantara, there's a lot of standard options that come with the GTS that kind of make it bang for the buck. And you're somewhere at like, I don't know, $60,000 or $70,000 less than the Turbo money, right? And so I always thought that would be a really, really cool car to have. So this new Targa is gorgeous. There is, like I said, the standard 911 and the S, but there isn't a GTS yet. There isn't a GTS in the current lineup yet, but I'd like to see a GTS at some point. But it's nice.
Now, the one thing the Targa does is it does have a tendency, in my opinion, to suffer from some color combinations. There's a guy down the street from me in my neighborhood that has all black with black Targa bar, and it's the configuration that you were talking about. It's that long domain name again. But and it looks spectacular. But then I was down in Newport, and I saw one, and I can't remember what color it was. It was an odd color, like a blue or something. And it just didn't, it was like the Targa bar almost stuck out too much, with the silver. And, I know each to his own, right? But I think sometimes less is more, and that all black one looks so wicked when I see him coming down the hill.
Yeah, it's tough to notice that if the black has the black bar like on the GTS.
Yeah.
it's tough to tell it's a Targa. You're just looking at it going, hey, this 911 looks good. I like the rear glass. I like the shape of it. And it's got its little black toupee for a soft top, which is interesting. But from a distance, you wouldn't even know that it was a Targa.
But when it's opened up and it looks good, I mean,
yeah, that's the thing.
Right. It's got big wheels, center lock wheels. Everything looks great.
So that is the GTS. That's nice. Yeah. That's a nice one. He's probably spent 160,000 on that one.
Oh yeah,
the way that it's configured. But it's not turbo money, which is 200 plus now. They keep going up in price. So all the Porsches now we talked about have turbo engines, but the naming convention is we have whatever 911, we have an S, we have a GTS, we have a turbo and a turbo S. That's now just sort of the upscaled version, the more powerful version, but they all have turbo on it. And of course, we talked about this as well, but the Taycan,
isn't it?
Taycan.
Taycan?
Yeah, rhymes with icon, according to Edmunds.
Okay, Taycan. That's just a pure EV vehicle, as you guys know. But there's a Turbo S, and then there's the 4S or whatever the base model is that are currently the two current models, I believe, are a 4S and a Turbo S. But obviously, no turbo on that. That's just the name now, right? It's sort of like saying it's an M5 instead of a 5 Series, or a AMG versus versus the non-AMG versions of the cars. So they've all got the turbo power on it now. But what's interesting is new rules coming into place. These are emissions rules coming into place in Europe.
Oh, the EU rules.
The EU rules. And these are kind of wacky, right? So they're saying, we're going to put a limit on how much power an engine can make per liter, right? So if you went with a 3-liter twin turbo making good power, 450 horsepower in your vehicle, great little sports car package, smaller engine, lighter weight, more efficient. Well, the EU is saying, oh, no, we don't want you to make that much power. You'd have to make a bigger engine to make more power. And we're like, why? This is stupid. Why would you do that? We can make smaller, more efficient engines. And their argument is they think they're going to force car companies to move toward hybrid and electric drivetrains, right? By saying, oh, we're going to force you to not make an efficient gas engine, so you'll use more electric drivetrain. But that doesn't work for some companies that are specialty sports car companies like Porsche does. I think they sold, I don't know, something about 9,500 911s a year. It's not, it's very profitable for them, and it's an important part of the brand, but they sell a lot of SUVs, and they're going to sell a bunch of the electric car as well. So whereas the current Porsche has a great packaging of a small turbocharged engine with a lot of power, the next version of the 911 in 2026 will have to step up to a larger engine. They're going to have to go back to something like a 4-liter engine, because to make the horsepower that they want to make without any sort of hybrid drivetrain,
they just increase everything.
The government's forcing them to go in the opposite direction. It seems weird, right? It just seems.
I'm going to make a prognostication here, though, Matt. I believe that COVID has changed everything. And I think as long as that's not too far down the road at this point, we might see changes. Just like LA, who said we couldn't have plastic bags at the grocery stores. I mean, that was finito. But now we got plastic bags. They're encouraging you to take plastic bags. We're seeing a lot of these things, people that wanted mass transit. Now they want to go to individual cars because it's safer. I think, and what I'm getting at is that I think the EU will recognize that there's been such an economic, weight put on the shoulders of all the manufacturers that they might start pulling back on a little bit of that.
Yeah, so a company like Porsche can afford to make this change. They're a profitable operation over there, or I believe they are. I don't see why they wouldn't be. But yeah, for this rule to apply to a lot of other car companies, it's tough. You got to imagine they've got people up on the hill, whatever their hill is, lobbying, going, I don't know, we want to do this. We should come up with a better plan. And there's a compromise. They can say, hey, we'll still meet the EU like fleet MPG standards and whatnot, and we'll still do it cleaner, and we'll still invest in hybrids and EVs, but we want to make small, more efficient engines for our sports cars.
Right.
The guy from Porsche said that the catalytic converters on these larger engines in 2026, he goes, we haven't even got there yet. He said they're going to have to be so huge. He's like, it's going to like what that catalytic converter is going to be expected to do is going to be way beyond what we're doing now. And by the way, cars are getting pretty clean, right? Like,
oh yeah,
if you go into a parking garage and your new car is sitting there running, idling, you don't notice. Some guy sprints through there with a leaf blower, a gas engine leaf blower, and you're going to be choking to death, right? That leaf blower has got to be spewing far more emissions than any other car on the road. Any car made in the last 2 decades, it's got to be way cleaner than any leaf blower out there.
Not only size of a catalytic converter, but the weight. I mean, those things are heavy. Yeah. So they're going to have to do some adjusting there because, the weight is such a factor on everything.
Speaking of weight, I want to talk about this big giant BMW X7, the largest SUV with the world's largest kidney grill out there. But before we do that, another reminder from our friends at Dodge. So I guess dealers are opening, which is fantastic. So visit your local Dodge dealer where they bring you performance, technology, and great deals. There's never been a better time than right now because Dodge is offering power dollars. And with power dollars, you'll get $10 off for each horsepower of your new car. So every 2019 Dodge Charger, every 2019 Challenger, doesn't matter. That means you could pull away in a 2019 Dodge Charger RT Scat Pack with 485 horsepower and receive an almost $5,000 cash allowance. So if you get more power, you get more off. It's that simple. Hurry into your local Dodge dealer today, or just give them a call or send them an email, whichever you want to do, and take advantage of Dodge Power Dollars. Okay, so BMW X7, giant SUV. We've been. I don't want to be too whiny about this, but we used to have a great relationship with BMW, tested a lot of the cars. We've got the one that, I got my supercharged M3. We've owned a bunch over here, and I think fans really like that car. I think people that listen to the show want to hear about some BMW stuff. We drove the M5, we drove the M4, we drove a number of things, and I wanted to get into the new 7 Series car. I wanted to get into the new X7, and I don't know. It's like a year or so ago. I sent an email to BMW, and they said, we've shifted our focus, and we're not sure you guys hit our audience. So I guess I'm a little surprised by that. Maybe they know our audience better than I do. But if you're listening to the show and you're interested in BMWs, let me know, and I'll hit them up again. But I have not driven the X7 because I have not given the opportunity to drive the X7. It looks kind of cool. I like the idea of the full-size SUV, the 3-row and the big one. Like, why wouldn't they have a big boy? Mercedes has them. Lexus has them. Adam's Infiniti QX80, big 3-row. When he got it, he's like, oh, it's pretty big. And now he's been driving it for a while. Loves it. We were driving around in it this weekend.
There's a lot to be said about the big SUVs. They just give you that mass. And if you have to haul anything, you can
tow a boat.
Yeah, tow a boat. But no, it really does. And I'm with you. I haven't driven a BMW in quite some time because it's just an unavailability.
Years ago, I was doing this charity racing event at Irwindale Speedway around the oval there. And during one of our practice sessions, I was driving the BMW B7, the Alpina B7. So it was they don't make an M version of the 7 Series, but they lent me that car. And after our training session in these these stock cars and the race cars out there, I hit up the guy. I was like, "Well, we're all shutting down. Are you turning the lights off? Is at night on the track?" I said, "I want to do a couple of laps in the B7." He's like, "I don't care. Go ahead." So a buddy of mine jumped in the car and we got that big 7 Series over 100 miles an hour going around the oval at Irwindale. Maybe that's why BMW stopped sending us cars. I could say that could be it either as well.
Yeah,
Maybe they found out about that. But listen, I gave it a bath and everything's fine. I returned it in one piece, and that was fun. So this X7, no M version on the X7, but they're following the path of their B7, and they're doing an Alpina X B7, and it's going to get a bump in horsepower. It's going to get a bump in torque, and for the size and weight of this thing, torque is where it's at, right? This is I want to say the X7 is 523 horsepower, and this bumps it to 612, and the normal X7 is 553 pound-feet of torque. This goes to 590. It'll scoot this thing around 0 to 60 in 4 seconds.
4 seconds.
And
that top speed on that thing, Matt, that thing's, for a big vehicle, that's pretty stout.
180 mile an hour top speed on essentially, which looks like a brick. Now, to stop it, you have to do... you have to do 15.5-inch rotors in the front and 15.7 in the back. It feels like those numbers are flipped, but according to the specs, that's what they're doing. For some reason, bigger in the back. That's
unusual.
Weird?
Yeah, that's
that seems weird. So maybe there needs to be a correction on there, but
unless it was a designer that wanted the same gap with the wheels front and rear or something weird like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is, but anyway, this will start at just under $143,000, gets you in the door, and it's about $40,000 over the base M50 I, which is the X7 base model. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I think. I'm surprised by the top speed because of how big it is, and I don't know if you had to guess. This thing's what, 6,000 pounds, 6,500 pounds?
Gotta be, yeah,
it's gotta be. It's massive, but kind of interesting. A buddy of ours, Tyson Sullivan, is an actor friend. He's been on the show here. He's been on the show in Shift and Steer, and he special ordered an SUV. Actually, he fell in love with it at Barrett Jackson. We were walking around. We went to the BMW booth, had a nice chat with those guys. And he saw the X6, kind of the swoopy version of it's got a nice profile to it, a little less functionality when you get into the hatch, but he was just kind of going for something kind of 4-door-ish that is not. He didn't need all of the utility, and he lives up on top of one of the hills up here, like in the Hollywood Hills. So the theory was, the roads are a little bumpy, they're a little messed up, and there's occasionally the curb on the tight turns. And you wanted to be able to not worry about ground clearance as much as you would on one of the sporty sedans, but also get a sporty sedan. So he looked at the X6, and then the guy showed us the X6M. And then he said, we also offer this with the competition package, which a lot of us here know about. And he's like, great, I love it. So he picked up I don't even think it's been delivered yet. They're making it, and obviously things have been delayed because of coronavirus. BMW X6M competition package, and it is as fast 0 to 60 as that Lamborghini Urus that we drove. It's like 3.6 seconds or 3.5 seconds. But at roughly half the cost. Don't get me wrong; it's still $150,000 SUV.
Yeah, half the cost.
But it's still like half the cost of the Lamborghini truck, which I thought was fantastic. So that'll be kind of interesting. Maybe that's going to be the only way I'm going to drive a BMW is wait for him to get his and then bring it over here and give it a shot. But anyway, that's kind of what's going on. What are you doing these days, Bradley?
Man, I'm trying to work through this coronavirus, get the factory ramped back up so that I can get the whole rhythm going again, and then find some time to have some fun. But I've really been thinking about this summer. We're looking at every single automotive event. Even things like we know that Monterey's all gone, and
except for the race, we believe.
Right.
It sounds like the race may be happening.
And they said that the Woodward Dream Cruise was going to happen. Then they canceled it. And so all these things keep fluctuating. And what that tells me is that with pent-up demand, there's going to be some incredible cars and coffees come late June and into July and August, man. Because guys are going to want to bring stuff out that they've waited to debut. And I think in certain locations, you will find some cars and coffee that are just crazy. I think we'll see some really cool cars coming out of the woodwork, or some things that you just don't see very often. I mean, don't you think people are going to want to get out?
I think so. I think some of the places that are starting to open and restaurants are opening, people aren't trickling in. People are lining up to get in. And I think we're all kind of ready to do that. And look, I think you have to open things up, even if for a while, and let people gain some sanity, as well as have some of these businesses get back in business. But we've seen in some of these other countries a second wave of coronavirus, and we might have to do a scaled back version of again. So go out, have some fun, do the car shows as restaurants and salons open, because people are desperate for haircuts and they want to eat their steak. Yeah, just be safe about it. Go and you do it. I will offer a little bit of I don't know, a suggestion, if you will. This is going to be a high stress environment for the restaurant owners and for the staff that are working there, and they may be forced to wear masks, which seems very impersonal for somebody who's serving your food. Hey, it's not their choice. They have these rules to abide by. Go in, be nice, tip well, and enjoy your meal, and you're going to have a good time. I know it's going to get a little frustrating. There's going to be lines, and they may run out of things, food and stuff like that, because they can't place the big orders. They have to ramp up volume again. They don't know how much they're going to move. So, you may be going to one of your favorite restaurants and they don't have enough seafood, or they run out of sushi, or they don't have enough steak. Just be patient with everybody. We'll all get there. That's my only suggestion would be, it's not their fault. The people working in the restaurants and some of these places all over, it's not their fault. There's a global pandemic. So I
don't know why anyone would be upset with a server wearing a mask, because
it's happening
it's
already.
Only one more layer of protection. I mean, do you really want somebody to cough on your food in good times?
Yeah, I didn't want it before.
Times?
Last year I didn't want it. I don't want it now. So I don't know. It just seems like, but I get it. And I wouldn't even bring it up if it already wasn't popping up in the news and people just being uncomfortable with it. Like, guys, come on, we can do better than that. But anyway, I want to wrap some things up here. You guys want to listen to Shift and Steers, the podcast I do with Brad and with Aaron Hagar. We're posting, since we've been doing the shows on Zoom as well, we've been posting some videos up on YouTube. And I think did we put up the video of Aaron's shop tour?
That one will go up later this week on our Facebook page. Okay,
so you could take a look at that. And then we had our buddy Stone Cold Steve Austin drop by for a minute. I think that's a bonus video. So that's going to be
a bonus video that will also go up this weekend. So the show will always go up on like a Thursday on Facebook, and then any bonus episodes go up during the weekends.
So Steve Austin is a neighbor of mine over in the Venice Marina area. He's got his ranch in Nevada where he spends most of his time. But when he's filming and doing stuff, he's got a place out here. And So we'll go over there sometimes and we hang out and take a look at the cool press cars and whatnot. But his place is in Nevada. He likes to road trip. That's all we can basically do these days. So he road tripped it on over to Aaron Hagar's shop and took a little tour over there. And everybody knows everybody, so everybody's good and friendly. And so he popped in and said hello, and we had a little chat. So look for that bonus video as well. The website Shift and Steer. You can link to all of our social media sites and Facebook pages and stuff from there. Brad, where can people find you if they want to tag along and see what you're doing?
Yeah, the best place is Instagram, and it's real easy. It's Bradley_Fanshaw. So it's FANSHAW. So Bradley_Fanshaw. I'm on everywhere else, but Instagram is where I put most of my stuff up at.
Right on. You can follow me at Moderator. Of course, we're at CarCastShow.com. And if you like this, and give us a nice little rating on iTunes. We appreciate it. Maybe a nice, friendly little comment. And check out Shift and Steer. Go to shiftandsteer.com or on iTunes. Scroll through, see if there's an episode that interests you. Give it a shot. See what you think. And if you like it, tell us on iTunes. If you don't like it, DM Brad.
Of course, yeah. Complaint department.
Yeah, and then we'll try to figure it out. All right, guys, thank you so much, Brad. I appreciate you coming in. Kind of a last minute thing as our buddy Goldberg rolls out and travels. Until next time, keep the air in the spare and the bag in the wheel.